Listening to Bloomberg Business Week, a Monday edition, and almost exactly a year ago, Carol, you and I were in Los Angeles. We were at the Milken Conference. I was, out and about, as we tend to be, and I met this guy, Todd Waddler, co-founder and CEO of BoxUnion Studio. He joins us on the phone from Lake Tahoe. I got a chance to go and do the workout a little later on in the summer. So, Todd, isn't that crazy? That it's almost like a year to the day that we were hanging out.
It is unbelievable, and thank you, Jason, and thank you, Carol, for having me on.
Sure, of course.
So how much the world has changed is pretty dramatic. First of all, let's take a step back. Remind us what BoxUnion is.
Yes, sure. BoxUnion is a fitness boxing brand that my co-founder, Felicia Alexander, and I started back in 2017. We have 2 fitness boxing studios in Los Angeles, and crazy enough, we were about to open our third in a couple of weeks when COVID-19 came about. And our view going back was that, and was supported by the data, was that the category was really poised for growth if the right offering came by. We felt that what held the category back was a lack of accessibility. I don't know how many boxing gyms you've been in, but for the most part, they could be pretty intimidating.
Yeah.
So we really worked to reinvent the category and reinvent what the offering was from everything we did. And that was whether it was the environmental, which obviously, Jason, you've seen in person, but probably the biggest place we spent our time was on the product itself and the workout. So what we created was what we call Box to the Beat, which means everything we do to the rhythm of the music in the room. It gives us nonstop movement, and it really makes the workout more fun and more engaging. And as we've taken the business into the digital world, and we'll talk about that, I think that's really, really important.
So, wait. Well, I'm curious, in your move to reinvent and make it less intimidating, has it worked? Like, what's the demos on it versus maybe what a traditional boxing gym might have?
Yeah, great question, Carol. So, when we looked at it and why we got so excited through the data was that boxing for fitness showed way more men versus female, and it also showed an older demo amongst the males. And you, the two of you, who are obviously very involved in the boutique fitness world, know that's not what the boutique world is like.
Right.
So we actually ended up with exactly the opposite of what we saw, and that was what really excited us. And part of that was not only the workout, but we really lean heavily into the mind and the mindset. And we think that plays a critical role in the fitness journey. And boxing sets up really well for that. And we just have the reviews and the emails from the customers to show that, especially in a time like COVID-19 with anxiety at all times high.
So what does that mean, lean into the mindset? And you're tapping into, you're right, Jason and I are very much into this world. We're very much into mental health as well as physical health. So when you lean into the mindset, what do you mean specifically?
Yeah, so in our classes, we're looking to inspire and motivate you. And part of the way that we're doing that is through our words, getting you to be able to achieve more than you could otherwise do and think about. Not in an intimidating way, but in a way of really unlocking that inner fighter. We say it in our classes as find your inner fighter. And it really has helped people deal with some of the things that you deal with in the mind, most notably things like anxiety. And that is combined with honestly just punching a bag, which is obviously very safe, but there's a release that comes with that. And so we've been able to really, really tap into that as part of our brand.
No, it's totally true, and it's a really interesting workout. We'll talk a little bit about it in a few minutes, because I want to understand from you, Todd, sort of how you transition to something that is more virtual and what that looks like, and the elements that you're able to take. We're talking with Todd Waddler. He's co-founder, CEO of BoxUnion, joining us on the phone from Lake Tahoe, as he said.
So what was it like?
It was very intense. My son Will and I went, my 17-year-old, and he's in incredible shape. I will say one of the funny things that he said to me as we were walking out, he's like, so you do this for your job? He's like, this is part of your job? which I said it actually is. So it was a lot, and it's a lot of fun. And as Todd just said, I mean, there's a release to it that's really important. And sometimes, especially these days, you just want to punch something. That's just true, right?
Exactly, right.
I never want to punch X Extra though.
No,
even
never. So let's go there. We will never ever. Ed Baxter out in San Francisco. Hey, Ed.
Wait a second. I'm ready to stop.
Wait a second.
Sometimes I just want to punch something. Business Flash.
All right, Charlie, thanks so much. Let's continue our conversation with Todd Waddler, co-founder, CEO of BoxUnion Studio, joining us on the phone from Lake Tahoe. All right, Todd, so we set the table with what the workout is, what it feels like in the studio. There is no studio at the moment for any of us, including Carol and me, who are talking to you from our respective homes. We don't even have our own studio to broadcast this radio show. So what does a virtual version of this look like?
Great question. So the good news is that we had always planned to have a digital offering. So that is something the team and I were working on all along. Clearly, COVID-19 sped that up for us. And what you have to make sure when you launch an offering like that is that the physical world and the virtual world still need to come together. You can't have two different brands. So we tapped into what we felt were our core competencies as a brand, which is what we discussed. We need to be accessible. We need to be fun. We need to have boxing. And then as we kind of looked through that lens, we said, what else do people like? Well, they like the live nature of what we're doing. So our platform offers live classes. But how do we extend the brand a little bit to make the offering even broader for more people? And what we did is we came out with what we call is Train Like a Boxer, which means the platform has all the boxing content you're ever going to want from a beginner through an advanced boxer. But as we know, boxers train, and any athlete trains in more than just what the sport they're doing. So we have cardio workouts, lots of different hit-based workouts by body part. We have jump rope. We have strength-based workouts with weights and no weights. We have mobility and recovery. Look, as we get older, right, it's part of the battle is just recovering.
Right.
And then we've also are about to launch our mindset offering, which we're really excited. We're bringing a best-selling author who's going to be what I call topical and purposeful meditations, and they're kind of based on what's going on. So I'll give you a quick example, which is dealing with anxiety during COVID-19. That would be an example of the types of meditations. So we have extended the brand, but kept it rhythm-based and giving the consumer many different ways to work out in our platform and build their community there.
Todd, I am curious, too, about the growth that you've seen in digital.
It has been amazing. As we launched it, the first step of what we did is we went to our members, and the adoption rate was really fantastic. But what I've been, quite frankly, blown away by is how we are on 5 continents already, and it's not just one person on each continent. It has been unbelievable how fast the word has gotten out. And the only way you can do that is word of mouth.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to ask you, Todd, is like everybody, not to be overly glib, but like everybody's going virtual. You had Equinox launch their thing. You've got some big players who are going after this. How do you stand out in this type of world?
Yep, that's a great question. And look, I think any successful online platform will have to have certain key elements. I think the number one thing is you got to have engaging content. We've spent a lot of time with built-in chat features and elements like that to be able to supply that. You've got to have your mix of live and on-demand. But the most successful ones, and some of the ones that you're talking about and some of the ones that will be launching, you have to develop a strong community. And in order to do that, in my opinion, you really have to have a direct relationship with the customer with a clear point of view. They have to know why you are there and why you exist and why they want to do what you're doing. And I think the way we've communicated the brand, it's really compelling. The second element I would say is I don't think there's anybody in the fitness boxing world that has compelling, accessible content in boxing. So I think it's a newer category, just like it was in the studio physical location side, in the virtual world as well. And that's what we're seeing, and that's why I think our numbers have even amazed us when we've launched this.
Now, I noticed too that you're also offering some branded at-home freestanding heavy bags, right? So you can actually buy some of the equipment. And I'm curious, too, Todd, how important that is to kind of helping grow the online digital world.
Great question. Because one of the things that we all had to deal with is how much room do you have in your home, and how many different pieces of equipment can you have? First, with BoxUnion, you can do this all without a bag. That's number one. We wanted to offer a bag, and we wanted to keep with our accessibility point, so we have multiple price point of bags. The bag sales have been fantastic. I do think what it does do is it probably helps take the experience to the next level, and I believe that customer retention will be higher with people that have bags longer term. But the other thing that we said is, hey, there's an installed base of bags out in people's homes. So we've seen a lot of people, we get photos, videos every day of people working out on an Everlast bag or whatever it might be, sending it to us and taking their bag experience and allowing us to provide the content to make that bag more engaging. So we're excited to offer it and offer the gloves, but we want to keep the price point down for the consumer. I think this is going to be a very difficult time over the next 6 months to 2 years for consumers to come up with that capital. And we've seen, obviously a lot of models come out to try to help people finance that. But we'll see how that ends. We saw how it ended in 2008 and 2009.
Right. Only about 45 seconds left here, Todd. Financially, you're a small guy. You're also a longtime investment banker. You're one of the founders of Moelis. How is the relief going from your perspective in terms of small businesses?
Great question. So I will say we've applied for our PPP. We are the definition of a small business if there's ever a small business. Here's the issue, in my opinion. It's an 8-week loan. You have 8 weeks to use it once you've been funded. Personally, I think this problem and this issue is going to go much longer than 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So I think the concern for the small business is if I fund my loan, I have 8 weeks, but I don't have a revenue model today. I can't even do anything with it.
Right.
Second problem is with all the stimulus, a lot of our employees, some of them could be making more money through the federal component of the unemployment. So we'll see how and when they want to come back.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to continue this conversation in the future. Loved catching up with you, Todd Waddler. Good luck with everything. Say hi to Felicia, co-founder, CEO of BoxUnion Studio, joining us from Lake Tahoe. That's going to do it for us, Carol Masser.
Yeah, a lot covered, a lot of ground covered on this Monday. So much to come. So stick around for certainly Daybreak Asia, and